Hello guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to discuss the worst performing currencies in 2020. Before we get to the currencies, let's analyze what are the main factors driving these currencies to devaluate in 2020. The main factors behind currencies devaluating in 2020 are three. The first one being the pandemic, which is affecting economies throughout the world. The second one is the oil prices, which are affecting a number of currencies, not all of them, but the ones depending on oil exports are definitely being among the most hurt currencies in 2020. The third factor affecting currencies in 2020 is budget spending. There are a lot of countries coming up with stimulus and rescue packages, and this is affecting their national budgets. Many of these currencies are not well prepared for these situations, and excessive budget spending is definitely impacting their currencies negatively. So, let's get to our list of the worst performing currencies in 2020. The first currency is the Mexican peso. Even though the Mexican economy is relatively robust, this year the Mexican peso has devaluated versus the US dollar 12.22% so far. The oil prices is one of the main driving forces impacting the Mexican peso negatively. Tourism is also another important factor. Even though Mexico is currently open for tourists, there is much less demand and much less flights directly to Mexico currently. The second currency on our list today is the Kazakhstani tenge. The Kazakhstani tenge lost 13.14% in value versus the US dollar in 2020 so far. The main driving force behind this are lower oil prices. 67% of the country's exports are petroleum and related products, thus making a huge impact to the Kazakhstani economy. Budget problems are also another aspect going against the Kazakhstani tenge. Because of the COVID and rescue packages, there's a huge mismanagement in government funds in Kazakhstan. The third currency on our list today is the South African rand. It has lost so far in 2020 17.44% versus the US dollar. The country has severe fiscal vulnerabilities because of mismanagement in national budget spending. The country is also heavily dependent on mineral commodities and has strong economic disparities. The fourth currency on our list is the Ukrainian hryvnia. Ukraine has a number of important economic problems, being the main one the occupation in the east of the country, especially in the cities of Donetsk and Luhansk. The country is also currently facing inflation and relies heavily on funds from the European Union and agreements with the IMF. The Ukrainian hryvnia lost 19.59% of its value versus the US dollar in 2020 so far. The next country on our list is the Russian ruble. Low oil prices are the main factor driving the ruble down in 2020. Russia is also one of the countries with the highest incidence of COVID in Europe and is also facing the possibility of sanctions from the European Union. The Russian ruble has lost almost 26% versus the US dollar so far in 2020. The next country on our list is Argentina. The local currency, the peso, is constantly losing its value for the past years already. The main factors behind the peso's devaluation are capital controls, government mismanagement, high public spending, inflation, corruption, and ineffective populist measures. The peso lost so far in 2020 29.2% versus the US dollar. The next currency on our list is the Turkish lira, which has lost already 33.21% versus the US dollar in 2020. The main factors driving the lira down are huge ongoing political mismanagement, a monetary policy targeting growth at all costs, which is fueling credit and inflation, and a huge drop in tourism related to the pandemic. And finally, the currency which lost the most value in 2020 is the Brazilian real. The Brazilian real has lost a whopping 40.5% versus the US dollar so far in 2020. Brazil was one of the worst hit countries by the pandemic, with a high incidence of cases per capita and a high death rate. Brazil also has ongoing political instabilities, which have been plaguing the country for more than a decade. The country also has ineffective monetary policies and an uncompetitive economy, which is causing foreign capital to flight en masse. That's it for today's video. See you next time.